Hi there, Karen Flaherty from Living by Human Design. Hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to be talking about in the human design weather, we're going to be talking about the gate 51, which is commonly called the gate of shock. So here we go. Okay, so we've got the sun in the gate 51, and it started late last night, on April 4th, and it goes until April 10th around midday. And the Earth is in gate 57, which is the gate of intuition. So we've got the gate 57 coming off the top of the spleen is in the Earth, and then we've got the 51 coming off the side of the will center right here, and that's the gate of shock. And it doesn't really have another name, but basically it's about saying or doing shocking things or having shocking things happen to you or said to you, and it's all with good reason. It's connected to the gate 25, which is the gate of the love of spirit, which we actually just had a few weeks ago, in the middle of March, and the vessel of love. 25 is one of the love gates. 51 is coming off the will, and it's all about competition and actually being first, like trying to be first, having a competitive streak. And it's also about shock. And so sometimes in order to get ahead, people will do or say shocking things. And a lot of times the 51, people with the gate 51 in their charts consistently will also have shocking things happen to them in their lives. So it can go either way, but it's all about really a sense of uncertainty, a sense of that there's, that you've got one foot down and you're not sure where the other one's going to land. And so it doesn't feel good sometimes, and it doesn't feel good when you don't trust. And it doesn't feel good when you are in uncertain times like we are now. And so let's, delve into this a little bit more. We've got, in terms of the transits this week, we've got the gate 2343 again, or the channel 2343 again, the channel of structuring, which defines both the ajna and the throat at the beginning of the week. And then by the 9th, which is, I think, Saturday, Mercury moves into the gate 3 and then creates this channel, which will define both the sacral and the root center. So by the end of the week, we'll have all 4 defined, and that will go for a few days. It's Mercury, so it moves pretty quickly. It only goes until the 11th. So we've got the sun in the gate 51 and the earth in gate 57. Shock, otherwise known as the arousing in the original I Ching. And there's the definition is the ability to respond to disorder and shock through recognition and adaptation. So in other words, the shock isn't really the be all and end all. It's the shock occurs and then things are supposed to happen. And as I actually started to say on the previous chart, this 25 to 51 channel is the channel of initiation. And it's really saying something shocking to get people closer to the love of spirit or to their goals or to their, whatever they have in mind that they want to accomplish. This 51 is always there to help them. We also call it the channel of the shaman, where you're helping people to move forward in whatever it is they're doing. So it does serve a purpose, and it's always a very initiating kind of experience. It's also where, sometimes near-death experiences will happen when people have this gate or the part of the channel. I had a near-death experience. I have the 25. I don't have the 51, but my husband has the 51, and the near-death experience happened before that. So it wasn't up to him, but sometimes shocking things happen when you're around people with the 51. So just, something to be aware of. It's always supposed to be for the good, not for necessarily harm or distrust or betrayal. It's always supposed to be helping people to move forward. But on the shadow side, it can be disruptive. So back to this. So it's the ability to respond to disorder again and shock through recognition and adaptation. So you have the shock and then something happens. You adapt, you recognize what it is, you move forward. In IHDS, the incarnation crosses this week are the cross of penetration, shock, and the clarion. And in human design, it's called the gate of initiation. For the gate 57, which is called intuition, generally, in the I Ching, it's called the gentle or intuitive clarity. And you can imagine how it could be gentle, right? It's a very gentle energy. It's intuitive energy. It's just kind of a knowing, or it can be a vision or auditory. It can come in lots of different ways. Intuition can come into you, but this intuitive clarity is what allows us to make decisions in the moment. So we might have a gut experience if we're generators or manifesting generators, but if you also have the spleen defined and some intuitive energy there, you might say yes with the sacral and then wait for the intuition to kick in and say, okay, now's the right timing. And so those can play together quite nicely in our charts, and really in any energy type. You can have the intuition, right? Whether it's, as I said, visual, auditory, clairvoyant, clairsentient, any of the clairs. And here it's described as the extraordinary power of clarity. So we really get clarity when we can listen to that intuition. In the gene keys, unease is the shadow, intuition is the gift, and clarity is the CD. And in quantum human design, instinct is the name of the gate. So with the gene key 51, we've got the shadow is agitation, the gift is initiative, and the CD is awakening. And as Richard says on the graphic, initiative always involves a leap. An initiative here is the gift, and so the gift involves a leap. The shadow is agitation because when we have shock in our lives, whether it's something you say or do or something that's said or done to you, it creates agitation, right? It creates an uncertainty. It creates a way of just not feeling like the ground is settled under you. And so this agitation, which of course is ongoing at this point, right? We're in the midst of uncertainty, lots of uncertainty in the world. And so it's not feeling so great. Other, things seem to shock us much more easily because we're in this place of shock and agitation. And the repressive energy here is for the shadow is cowardly, because when people are feeling as if shocks can come at them at any time, that's a very, again, uncertain feeling. But it has us, some people move into fear-based energy, right? And the reactive part of it is where there's some anger involved. So it can either be fear or anger or both. But the reactive energy is going to be a little more hostile. So they might say or do shocking things at a party or a family gathering or something like that. And it's disruptive, right? It doesn't feel good. So the gift is initiative, and the initiative is when we're willing to take a leap, when we're willing to get out of the fear. And yes, might be some uncertainty going forward, but the uncertainty is going to be from the excitement we feel for the thing that we want to do, as opposed to the uncertainty that we felt when we had fear and didn't know what to do, right? So here's where it's very important to listen to your strategy and authority to make decisions that make sense for you, so that you're using that to move forward, as opposed to, hiding out or not being sure of what to do. And the CD is awakening. I won't go too much into that, except it's a much higher frequency where we've actually awakened to what's possible, right? Awakened to what the world could be if we were all living in a higher frequency. So Richard says the hallmark of all shadow frequencies is a profound lack of trust in life itself. And also that it's not possible for a human being to awaken without first stepping fully into their creative independence. So for the personalities born this week, we've got a number of people, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who give us the 7 different stages of grief, Pharrell Williams, Betty Davis, Hugh Hefner, who had the Playboy clubs, a little shocking there sometimes, I guess, Kristen Stewart, the actress, and Patricia Arquette, James Garner, Merrill Haggard, Williams Wordsworth, the poet. And so, I don't know how many shocking things they had going on in their lives, but most likely they were pretty adept at using the shocking things to forward their careers and to probably help people get closer to spirit, but probably also help themselves gain the renown or the acting gigs that they were looking for. Let's talk a little bit about Pharrell Williams' chart. He's got a birthday today, April 5th. In 1973, he was born, so that makes him 49 today. As you probably know, he's a singer, a record producer. He's worked, and produced everybody from Shakira to Ariana Grande to Daft Punk to Robin Thicke to Bruno Mars. He's worked with a lot of different people. He's also a rapper, fashion designer, and entrepreneur. And he's got a lot going on in his chart in terms of the things that, using the different consistent energies in his chart to make him what he is. He's got a lot of openness with the open head and ajna, but that's great for creative thought. The open throat, which is wonderful for singing and doing what he does. The open G center, which allows him to interact very easily with other people, right? He's done a variety of different types of musical genres, and that's part of what allows him to do that. And going from fashion to rap to business, he's good at everything, and he works well with most of those people, from what I understand. Open will center, so he probably grew up with a little bit of self-esteem issues. We all do with the open will center, and but he's obviously created boundaries for himself that work. And then he's got the defined centers, the spleen, very nurturing energy, very intuitive energy. And he's got this entire channel going here, which is called the channel of power, intuition, plus multitasking. Very important when you're doing as many things as he's doing. He's got the defined solar plexus, which is defined by this channel of 41 is creativity, 30 is intensity or desire, and a very creative type of channel, in that he's probably always coming up with ideas. And by the way, he does have the gate of ideas up here in the gate 11. Over here, he's got the 1858, which is all about, and the defined root. 1858 is all about correction and editing and making things better. And then he goes to the 58. They're working together, because you edit things and correct things and make them better, improve them, so that you can bring people closer to the joy of life. So I love the way this is such a good example of the way channels work together, and that the whole is much more than the sum of its parts. Same thing with the 32 and 54, which is all about business as part of the business circuit. 32 is all about starting a business and creating a business. The 54 is the ambition that goes with it, to keep it going and to keep it growing. And he certainly has done that. 53 is all about starting things. The 9 is all about focus, and the gate of sensitivity in the 19, provocation in the 39, and knowing what's worth fighting for in the 38. So he can bring those all together and create a business that is, where he's both a provocateur, but he knows what's worth fighting for, and he doesn't go out and do things that don't make sense for him or his business or his family. He now has 4 children, and he's been married 10 years. So as a generator, I think I might have forgotten to say that, he is a generator. He's got a lot of energy, especially with all these 3 motors. And his profile is the 1-3, which is the investigative martyr. The 1 comes from here, and the 3 comes from here. And these investigative martyr was somebody who knows, investigates a lot, and he knows a lot, and he has really run the gamut over 30 years in terms of musical genres, and learning what he has, and meeting and knowing and developing friendships with so many different types of people. And then the 3 is the martyr, or the experiential learner. He's had a lot of different experiences, again, so many different ways of creating music and developing music and producing it, that he's really very well regarded within the industry. And then I just noticed that his Chiron, which is about his life's purpose, basically, is 51 and the 21, again, for shock and control, which he already has in his chart. And so it basically just amps it up. And by the way, the 30, which is the gate of intensity, amps up everything else in the chart. So while he has not a lot of definition in the chart, although it's all at the bottom, which makes him probably a pretty grounded person as well, it does amp up everything else in the chart, and creates a person who's pretty intense, most likely. And he has to be to get everything done that he does. 35 off the throat is about change. And actually, that's the only thing he's got coming off the throat. And so he's all about changing things up. And in a way, that's indicative also of the types, again, the different genres that he plays in. It's not just rap. He's proficient at a lot of different things. So that's Pharrell Williams. Happy birthday, Pharrell. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you'll ride the wave of shocks that might come up this week for you, that might show up in your life. They might be said to you or be, happen to you. There might be some things that might be created in the consciousness that are shocking. Just know that this is the type of energy that it'll be for the next few days, and ride the wave, because the more you can be yourself and make your decisions from your own strategy and authority, the better you'll feel overall. And these things don't need to be shocking for a long time. Just say, that's another shocking thing that's gone on, and move on. You don't need to dwell on it. Take it for what it's worth, learn from it, and move on. So hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time. Take care.